Here's my review of The Beekeeper. This movie was just insane and a ton of fun where we're following Jason Statham's character who's named Mr. Clay, who is a beekeeper, and he's caring for this elderly person. Well, he's like, kind of gives her jars of honey, and it all is well until she is killed. And it's not really a spoiler. I mean, this is a spoiler review, but this happens all in like the first 10 minutes. Where this lady he's working for, Mrs. Parker, falls victim to a phishing scam where they're like, oh, type in all your credit card information. We'll help you with something if your computer's broken. And then she gets her money lost, and then she takes her own life. And that was something where it was in the movie where it felt so crazy. It was like expected to be a very sad moment. It's like you feel bad at the same time. Like that just seems so crazy that she immediately just takes her own life instead of like asking anybody for help. I thought that was very weird. And you could tell, I mean, that Mr. Clay really cares about this lady, and because of this, he kind of goes on a revenge quest, and it's awesome. But this whole thing, because like they get these call centers where it's these companies, they just randomly say, oh, your hard drive is infected. Give us all your money and then we will help you. And then that's how they scam you. And you just see these scummy people. They're just on the phone with this lady. You're like, yeah, what are the 4 numbers on the back of your credit card? Just tell us that and we will help you fix everything with your computer. And it's scary because like this stuff probably could happen in real life. I mean, and that's what made it very interesting within the movie. And then just boom, just like that, they take all of her money. She had like, what was it? Like a couple million, almost like $1 million in savings, and they just stole it. And you see that they're doing it to all sorts of people. And then this time, because it happened to Mr. Clay's close friend, he goes and hunts them down, and it's awesome. But he finds that she took her own life, and that's kind of what sets him off, and he goes to hunt them down. And this movie just has the most absurd action that's so over the top, and that's what makes it fun, where he goes to this lead operation, and then he just immediately just beats everybody up, and it's so quick and over the top, where it's just like, you can't help but just have a great time. And it's just like, he literally goes in with like these gallons of gasoline and just starts dumping them on people, and then he just throws a lighter in and just kills them, and it's just so just great. And it's like that throughout this whole movie, just this absurdity in terms of the violence that just makes it just a blast to watch. And then he just drives away from the explosion, and it's great. It's just, this is a movie you have to kind of realize when you have a concept that is just so crazy and the violence is just so stupid, where you just have to know that this is going to be a silly movie. And it is, but it's awesome. And you get like this great action scene, like where it's back on the farm where the lady was, where he'll literally he'll put some guy's hand through like a buzzsaw, and just all this super gnarly action that was what's making this movie so enjoyable. Or when he gets like one of the guys who originally scammed her, and he cuts off his arm with the buzzsaw, and then he ties him to a car, and then just turns the car on, then boop, goes right in the ocean. And that's what this whole movie is, but hey, I'm having fun. And then you can get like some of these super close-up kills like this that is just gruesome, and it's great, though. And when you're at a point where you literally just have all these people just on machine guns, you know that this is a movie where you gotta stop, you gotta stop thinking. And there's a lot of stuff like that in this movie, especially when Mr. Clay, he doesn't really, his personality is just being cool, and he never loses a fight. He literally can't because of his contract. But you just have to know, you're just gonna have a fun time. And this scene in particular is a lot of fun because, she's shooting at Statham until she eventually gets covered in honey. He throws honey at her, and then honey is actually super flammable, so then he lights her on fire, which, that's one of the kind of the gimmicks. I wish they actually utilized that more. He's literally a beekeeper. I wish they utilized that more. They only use it once or twice, where he puts honey on him before he burns him alive. And I think that could have been done a lot more, and it would have been a lot more fun to see if they did, but they didn't. But it's still really awesome what it is. And this movie is consistently filled with great scenes, whether they're in this hallway, and they're just kind of, he's like going down these stairs and he's just facing off all these guys and he's just taking down every single one of them. And it's silly. And you're like, there's no way this guy hasn't died yet. But at the same time, it's just so much fun where you're not really questioning it. And that's the case for this entire movie. And I think my favorite, though, was definitely when after he chopped the one guy's arm off with the big butts on he ties him to the car and just turns the car on. It's that kind of over-the-top violence that was just awesome. And that's what the whole gimmick of this movie is. But it's still really fun. And Josh Hutcherson is also in this movie. He's like just the scummiest. He's just like the scummiest guy. He's kind of like running this whole operation. And he's a ton of fun as well. Like his interactions, like whether it's like with his mom, because he's just this stuck-up rich kid, is just really fun. And this whole time you're like, he just deserves what's coming through him. Like he's literally just like abusing all these elderly people and just scamming all of them. And he's just a lot of fun whenever he is on screen. And he's one of like the things that makes this movie work as well as Jason Statham. So yes, this is a movie that's very silly. Like, I mean, he literally is so unstoppable. And like, he'll just go in, he'll just literally say that he's about to kill you. And it's just like, everyone just looks around. It's like this, and they don't really feel like they're really panicked. And that's silly for sure, but it's fun. I was almost consistently smiling throughout this whole movie. So I don't care. And this is just a world where they set up this interesting lore of the beekeepers, of how it's this secret society before, like how Jason Statham's character was a beekeeper before he became a real beekeeper and he retired. He was part of this secret government organization. And it leaves a lot to want. And this is a movie that I would happily like to see a sequel to. But, I mean, I don't know if it's going to get it. But if we do, I would love to see more of this hive, like the beekeepers explored. I want to know more, like, what is this organization? What more do they do? And this is a movie that overall I feel like you're just going to have a fun time. If you like super violent movies, you'll like it. If you like Jason Statham, you'll like it. If you can tolerate, this is dumb, but it's fun, this should not work, but somehow it's really fun kind of movies, then I think that you will thoroughly enjoy this movie. But if you can't, if you're the kind of person who's like, that's just too far, it's too stupid, I don't think this is going to be a movie that you would like. But, like I said, if you do like the over-the-top action, if you like Jason Statham, if you like overly mean villains, then I think that this is a movie that you could thoroughly enjoy. I know I did. I just think that this was just a ton of fun, and overall, I had a really fun time with it.